All right, buckle up, everyone, because today we're diving headfirst into the world of electric vehicles. Specifically, we're taking a close look at Honda's strategy in China and their push to make a big splash in the EV market
A
there.
very interesting topic.
We've got some great material to work with for this deep dive.
Oh, yeah.
First up, we have this in-depth article from Car News China. They're a pretty reputable source for EV news, especially in China. And they've got this whole breakdown of the new Honda S7.
The new all-electric SUV.
The one and only. And what makes this even more interesting is we've also got some online discussions, some forum chatter, the kind of stuff that's giving us a little bit of a European perspective on all of this.
That adds a whole other layer to this, doesn't it?
It really does. And it kind of begs the question, can a company like Honda, known for their gas guzzlers, their traditional cars, can they really pivot and become a major player in this rapidly changing EV market?
Right. I mean, you think Honda, you think reliable, fuel efficient, but electric? Not so much. So it's a really crucial moment for them.
Yeah, they're at a crossroads for sure. And to understand just how crucial this is, I got to look at the context. Honda sales in China haven't exactly been stellar lately.
They haven't.
Nope. They actually took a pretty big hit, a 26.7% drop in 2024 to be exact.
Whoa, 27%. That's not insignificant, especially for a company that's been a powerhouse in China for years.
Exactly. And it gets even more interesting when you remember their initial attempt to break into the EV market. Remember the EN series?
Yeah, those were supposed to be their big electric debut, but it kind of felt like a bit of a whimper rather than a bang.
Yeah, they didn't really capture the public's imagination, did they? Especially compared to what local Chinese brands were putting out there. So this E-Series, and especially the S7, feels like their do-over, their big chance to come back swinging. But why do you think those EN models didn't quite hit the mark?
Well, you've got to remember the Chinese EV market is super competitive. I mean, you've got domestic giants like BYD that were already miles ahead, rolling out cutting-edge technology and really understanding what Chinese consumers want. Honda kind of came in with a more global approach, which might not have resonated as strongly with the Chinese market.
Makes sense. They probably underestimated the local competition a bit. So now the pressure's really on for them to nail it with the S7. So spill the beans. What can you tell me about this car?
It's a mid-size SUV, 5 seats, built on Honda's new W platform, which is specifically designed for electric vehicles. And let me tell you, the specs are pretty impressive.
Okay, lay it on me. What makes this F7 so special?
Well, first off, it boasts a whopping 620-kilometer range based on the CLTC standard. And that's all thanks to a pretty powerful battery pack from CATL.
Hold on, 620 kilometers. That's insane. I mean, that completely blows range anxiety out of the water, which is a big deal for a lot of people who are hesitant about going electric. But why is this CATL battery so special?
Good question. See, CATL is a big name in the battery world. They're known for making incredibly efficient and powerful batteries, like the best of the best. Partnering with them means Honda can offer that extended range, which is a major selling point in a market like China, where long-distance driving is pretty common.
Smart move on Honda's part. They're really ticking the practicality box here. But what about performance? I mean, range is great, but is this thing actually fun to drive?
Oh, they haven't skimped on that either. It's got a dual-motor, all-wheel drive system with a combined output of 469 horsepower. The early reports are suggesting it can hit 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in a pretty decent time.
Wow, so they're not messing around.
Not at all. And to top it all up, they're also offering a single-motor, rear-wheel drive version for those who prioritize efficiency over, raw speed.
Smart move. So they're really trying to cater to a wide range of drivers. Practicality, performance, check and check. But what about the inside? Any fancy tech to get excited about?
Oh, they're definitely going for that high-tech sleep vibe that's so popular in China right now. I think dual-screen infotainment system, digital rearview mirrors, all the bells and whistles you can imagine.
Sounds like they're trying to woo those tech-savvy consumers. But here's where things get really interesting. The Huawei connection.
Ooh, yes, this is a big one.
So Honda is ditching their own advanced driver assistance system, ADAS, and they're going all in on Huawei's Qiankun technology for the Chinese market.
Wait, they're completely abandoning their own system. Why would they do that?
Well, apparently, Japanese investors weren't too thrilled with the performance of Honda's ADAS. They wanted something, well, more cutting edge, and they found it in Huawei.
So they went straight to the top. Bold move. But how does Huawei's ADAS actually stack up against the competition?
Good question. From what I've read, it's considered by many to be the leading ADAS system in China.
Wow, seriously?
Yeah, Car News China even claims it outperforms XPeng system, and XPeng is a major player in the Chinese EV market. They're known for their tech.
So this is more than just a publicity stunt for Honda. This is a real game changer.
Totally. It gives the S7 serious street cred, and it really sets it apart from the competition. and it shows how serious Honda is about adapting to the Chinese market, going so far as to embrace local technology.
Right. They're not just trying to force their own way. They're recognizing that sometimes the best solution is to collaborate with local experts.
It's almost like they're taking a page out of Volkswagen's playbook. Remember their in China for China strategy? They're learning that you got to play the game to win. But you know what's throwing me for a loop?
What's that?
The branding. The whole Yi thing.
Ah, yeah, the Yi branding. It's a bit of a mystery, wasn't it?
Totally. Initially, they were all about this Yi series, which was supposed to include the S7 and the P7, another electric model.
I remember seeing that, and Yi is supposed to evoke brilliance in Chinese, which makes sense for an EV lineup, right?
Exactly. But then things get weird. They seem to have dropped the U name from a lot of their recent communications. It's just the Honda S7 now and the Honda P7.
So what's going on? Did they change their minds?
It's hard to say. They're still using the E logo in some of their promotional materials, so it's all very confusing. Is this a rebrand, a simple mistake, or some internal debate within Honda about how they want to position these cars? Who knows?
It's a head-scratcher for sure, but it definitely adds a layer of intrigue, doesn't it?
Totally agree. All right, before we get too sidetracked, let's talk about the big elephant in the room. Price. How much is this all going to cost the average consumer?
Well, according to Carney's China, it's going to be positioned above the Dongfeng-Honda ENS1. That one's currently selling for somewhere between 24,000 and 30,000 USD. So I'd say we're probably looking at a starting price of at least 27,600 USD for the S7.
So not exactly cheap.
Not exactly, but keep in mind this is the Chinese market we're talking about. It's incredibly competitive, and price is a huge factor.
Absolutely. They're going up against some heavy hitters like the Tesla Model Y, the XPeng D6, the Neo ES6, even the upcoming Xiaomi YU7. That's a tough crowd to please.
No kidding. They're going to have to fight for every sale.
So Honda's walking a tightrope here. They need to offer all the bells and whistles, the cutting-edge tech, but also keep the price competitive. It's a tough balance to strike.
Absolutely, and it'll be interesting to see how they navigate that.
All right, before we wrap up this part of our deep dive, we have to touch on the European angle. You mentioned some online buzz about the S7 potentially making its way to Europe.
Yeah, there's definitely some chatter online. European EV enthusiasts are pretty intrigued by the S7. I mean, who wouldn't be? The range is impressive, the Huawei tech is cutting edge, and the Honda brand has a solid reputation.
Yeah, it would definitely shake things up in the European market, but is there any official word from Honda about bringing it over?
Not that I've seen, it's all speculation at this point, but the fact that people are already talking about it shows just how much potential the S7 has.
It's a story worth following, that's for sure. All right, that's it for part one of our deep dive into Honda's EV strategy in China. We've covered a lot of ground, from the S7's impressive specs to that game-changing Huawei partnership and the branding mystery. Welcome back, everyone. We're picking up right where we left off, exploring Honda's ambitious EV strategy in China. You know, the more I think about it, the more I'm struck by the significance of that Huawei partnership. It's not just a simple tech swap, is it?
Not at all. This is a real statement from Honda. They're acknowledging that to succeed in China's EV market, they need to adapt, to play by the rules of the game, so to speak.
Right, and it's like they're saying, we recognize the expertise and innovation coming out of China's tech sector, and we're not afraid to embrace it.
Exactly. It's a humbling move, especially for a company like Honda, known for its engineering prowess. It's like they're saying, hey, we don't have all the answers. Let's work with the best.
And in this case, the best seems to be Huawei, at least when it comes to ADAS. But isn't there some risk involved in relying so heavily on another company's technology?
Sure, there's always a level of dependence when you integrate another company's tech so deeply into your product, but in this case, I think the benefits outweigh the risks.
How so?
Well, think about it. Honda gets access to top-notch, cutting-edge ADAS technology without having to invest a ton of time and resources into developing it themselves. That's a huge advantage in a fast-moving market like EVs.
I see your point. It's a strategic move to stay competitive. But let's look at it from the consumer's perspective. If you're a Chinese buyer, wouldn't a car with a sophisticated, reliable ADAS system be a major selling point?
Absolutely. ADAS features are becoming increasingly important to car buyers, especially in a market like China where traffic can be, well, chaotic. Having a system from a trusted name like Huawei adds a level of confidence and peace of mind.
So it's a win-win for both Honda and the consumer. They get a better product and Honda gets a competitive edge. Okay, let's shift gears a bit and talk about the potential impact of the S7 on the Chinese EV market. What kind of waves do you think it will make?
I think it has the potential to be a real disruptor. It's got the specs, it's got the Huawei tech, and it's got the Honda brand name behind it. That's a powerful combination.
I agree. It seems like they're targeting a sweet spot in the market, buyers who want a premium EV experience but aren't necessarily looking at the luxury end of the spectrum. But let's be real, they're facing some tough competition, right?
Oh, absolutely. The Chinese EV market is a battlefield. They're going head-to-head with the Tesla Model Y, the Xpeng G6, the NIO ES6, and a whole slew of other strong contenders.
So it's not going to be an easy ride for Honda. What do you think will be the key factors that determine their success or failure?
Well, pricing is going to be crucial. We know they're aiming for that premium segment, but how aggressive will they be on price? Then there's marketing. Can they effectively communicate the value proposition of the S7 to Chinese consumers? And of course, there's the whole brand perception thing. Can Honda, known for their gas-powered cars, convince buyers that they're a serious player in the EV space?
It's a complex equation for sure. But, this whole situation has me thinking about Honda's global EV strategy. If they can make the S7 a hit in China, could we see them bringing it to other markets?
It's certainly a possibility. Honda has been a bit slow to roll out EVs globally compared to some other automakers.
They have, haven't they? A little late to the party.
But a successful launch of the F7 in China could give them the confidence and momentum to accelerate their global EV plans.
Imagine the S7 cruising the streets of Europe or North America. It could be a real game changer for their image, especially with that Huawei technology under the hood. But would it translate to those markets?
Well, that's the big question, isn't it? European and North American markets have their own unique regulations, consumer preferences, and competition. Honda would need to adapt the S7 accordingly. It wouldn't be a simple copy-paste job.
Fair enough. But if they could pull it off, it would send a strong message that they're committed to competing in the global EV arena. But before we get too far ahead of ourselves, let's circle back to that branding mystery. Any new theories on why they're being so coy with the Yi name?
It's still a puzzle, isn't it? Maybe they're testing the waters, seeing how the market responds to the e-branding. Or perhaps there's some internal debate within Honda about the best way to position these new EDs.
Yeah, it's hard to say for sure. But, the more I think about it, the less important the name becomes. What really matters is the substance. The car itself, the technology, the driving experience.
I agree. The name is just a label. It's the product that ultimately speaks for itself.
Speaking of the product, I remember that Car News China article made a pretty bold statement about Huawei's 8S. They called it China's finest, even suggesting it surpasses Xpeng's system in some areas.
That's high praise, especially coming from a reputable source like Car News China, but it speaks to the incredible speed of innovation in the Chinese tech sector.
It's a wake-up call for traditional automakers like Honda. They can't rest on their laurels. They need to adapt, collaborate, and embrace these new technologies if they want to stay ahead of the curve.
It's a new era in the automotive industry. The lines are blurring between car companies and tech companies, and it's creating exciting opportunities for innovation.
It's an exciting time to be following all of this, that's for sure. All right, that wraps up part 2 of our deep dive. Join us for the final part where we'll make some bold predictions about the future of Honda, Huawei, and the world of electric vehicles. All right, welcome back, everyone, for the grand finale. The thrilling conclusion of our deep dive into Honda's electric adventure in China. We've dissected the S7, explored the Huawei partnership, and now it's time to put on our futurist hats and make some predictions.
All right, let's gaze into our crystal ball and see what the future holds for Honda and their EV ambitions.
Okay, first prediction. I'm feeling optimistic. I think the S7 is going to be a hit in China.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's going to be an instant Tesla-level craze, but I think it's going to make a serious dent in the market. The specs are great, the Huawei connection's a big deal, and the demand for premium EVs in China is only growing.
I think you're right. Honda seems to have finally cracked the code. They're listening to the market, they're adapting to local tastes, they're not afraid to collaborate. I'm going to go out on a limb and say, yeah, they're going to sell a lot of S7s, enough to really cement their position as a major player in the Chinese EV scene.
I like it. All right, prediction number 2. A little bolder this time. I think we're going to see the S7, or at least some variation of it, making its way to Europe within the next 2 years.
Ooh, interesting. That's a spicy prediction.
Honda knows they need to step up their EV game globally, and the S7 could be their golden ticket.
It's true, they've been lagging behind a bit in Europe.
Exactly. But the S7 has the potential to really appeal to European buyers. That impressive range, the Huawei tech, and the Honda brand name all carry a lot of weight.
I see where you're coming from, but I'm a little hesitant. The European market is tough. They'd have to deal with different relations, different consumer preferences, and the competition is fierce.
Oh, for sure, it wouldn't be easy. They'd have to adapt, no doubt. But I think they can do it. And if they pull it off, it would be a huge win for them. It would show the world that they're serious about EVs on a global scale.
It would certainly turn heads. I'd love to see it happen.
Me too. Okay, last prediction, but it's a big one. This whole Honda-Huawei partnership has me thinking. I predict we're going to see a lot more collaborations like this between traditional automakers and Chinese tech companies.
Ooh, yeah, I think you're spot on with that one. It just makes so much sense. You've got the automakers with their manufacturing expertise and established brands, and then you've got these Chinese tech giants who are leading the way in AI, autonomous driving, connectivity, all that good stuff.
It's like a match made in heaven, or, in a high-tech EV lab somewhere.
Right, and it's not just Huawei. We're talking about companies like Baidu, Alibaba, Tencent. They're all pouring resources into the automotive space. They see the potential, and they're ready to team up with automakers to bring their tech to the masses.
It's a total game changer. It makes you wonder what incredible, innovative vehicles we'll see coming out of these partnerships. The possibilities are endless.
Absolutely. I feel like we're on the cusp of a whole new era in the automotive world. It's no longer just about engines and horsepower. It's about software, data, seamless integration. And China is leading the charge.
So, final question. What's your prediction for Honda's long-term EV strategy? Are they going to become a true EV powerhouse?
I think they're all in on electrification. They might have had a slow start, but they're learning fast and they're making smart moves. The S7 is a perfect example of that. Mark my words. Honda is going to be a major force in the global EV market in the years to come.
I'm with you on that one. We're witnessing the rebirth of Honda, shedding that old-school image and embracing the future of mobility. It's going to be a wild ride.
A wild, electrifying ride.
And that, my friends, is a wrap. We've reached the end of our deep dive into Honda's EV journey in China. We've analyzed the strategy, debated the branding, and dared to predict the future. So, what do you think? Are you as excited about Honda's EV future as you are? Let us know in the comments. And don't forget to like this deep dive and subscribe to our channel for more insightful explorations into the world of EVs and beyond.